back, Death Toll Racing. This is the FiTech episode. Obviously, that's what it said in the description. So, basically, the only directions you really need are the very simple diagram directions that we have right here. They have a configuration for every situation. Hi, babe.
Are we working on this today?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess can't help you then.
Okay.
I'm allergic to these.
I know.
Okay.
You'll be all right.
I haven't been vaccinated.
Next thing you know, you're gonna like a ranchero. Anyway, they have a configuration for any sorts of scenario that you're running. We are running a CDI box, which is like an MSD or anything like that, and then we are using timing control, and what that means is the computer for the FiTech is going to be controlling the timing. Like when we installed the engine, I set the distributor straight up, and that is why, because the computer is going to be doing the timing. We locked out when we built that engine. We locked out timing in the distributor so that it doesn't do any advancing at all. That will all be controlled by the computer. So there's the directions for our scenario. So they're pretty simple, straightforward. Our fuel pump is not an inline fuel pump. We have an in-tank fuel pump, but the wiring is the same. There's no difference on that. So anyway, let's get going on it. Are you good to get going on it? Are you going to be all right?
Maybe I'll wear a mask.
All right. We need to throw in some studs on our manifold since we actually haven't had a carburetor on it yet. So she's going to do that and get ready to put the throttle body on. And now you just set the throttle body on.
Don't drop it.
Whoa. As the ramp slides out from under her feet, and she's just about laying in the engine compartment. Just make sure you don't pinch any wires or anything under it, and it's as simple as that. We probably could have cut the zip tie on it just to make it a little easier to put down. We'll do that now though.
Bolt it down.
So there is a diagram also included that shows you what each vacuum port uses or does. If you are running a factory distributor yet and you're not going to use this thing to control timing, it'll show you the ported vacuum and all that stuff. So now it's just washer and nut on all four corners, and this step is done. All right, same basic principles as a carburetor. You don't have to go crazy tight on these things. I think I'm not sure what the actual torque spec is on it, but it's in the inch pounds, so it's not super duper tight. You don't need to be breaking your base gas or your base off the throttle body, or you may as well start over. She's just plugging in the water temp sender there and bundling up the wires so they look nice as we go. So now, before we hook our throttle linkage up, we have to make sure that we're going to pull the throttle all the way open, but not over pull it or it'll bend the throttle shaft. And that is a situation in any carburetor and stuff. You don't want to over pull that shaft or you will actually bend the shaft and then you'll get a vacuum leak and everything else. So Akila's just flooring it and basically it's just bottoming out that spring. And we're going to make sure, yeah, so she can technically over pull that. Go ahead and let go, Akila. Yeah, we're gonna have to go to this hole right up here. Do it one more time. All right, I'm gonna make Akila put that on. I was gonna do it, but she has smaller fingers, so it's gonna work better for her. So we're just putting the ball, the factory ball, back on the FiTech.
You're right. This does need smaller hands. Where's Calder? Ta-da! See, I told you it was tight.
Okay, can you grab me a crescent wrench?
Absolutely.
Just a small one.
Here you go. No? Too big?
Too big.
All right.
Lower it. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so it actually works. I was a little nervous there for a sec. I thought we were gonna have to make an extension cable, but the distributor plugs into the plug. When you have a new distributor, this generic two-pole plug, they just plug together like that.
Okay, go.
So this is the part that clamps on to your header. I'm going to try to put it right up top. So we're going to try to drill a hole. I hope I can drill through the stainless okay. I am going to use a step bit. It's a pretty sharp step bit. I'm going to go all the way down. I'm going to leave one, so it ends up being I think a 13/16 hole.
Oh.
Oh, burned you. Okay, so that's it.
See if I ever videographer for you again. Burn me with metal chunks off a Ford.
Ew.
Ew. It's gonna leave a scar, I know it.
And we'll tighten it once it's in there, but that way we can get our hole lined up. One oxygen sensor, all we have to do is tighten it up and plug it in now.
Ta-da!
You can stay right there because I'm gonna, actually we can reach the plug from down there. She's gonna plug in the oxygen sensor and coil up the wires. Should be off the back. It's a really long one.
Oh, that's because I'm sitting on it.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Gee, why can't I find that? It sits under your butt. Bob loves zip ties.
Bob's favorite toy is zip ties. Hey, look at all the space in this thing.
Yeah, so much room for activities. Store a spare wife in here.
I can. I have one on order.
Oh, good.
It should be here any day.
Where's it shipping from? Does Amazon sell those now?
Yeah. Amazon. It's Prime now.
Oh.
Two-day shipping. Yeah.
Great. Hope you got a younger model. Okay, I'm done.
Yay! Now she's just going to push the cables through the firewall. We have a nice port there that we just modified. She's going to add those through there. That's where we're going to put all our wires for our new gauges and everything is going to go right through that same hole. So I'm going to go on the other side and pull it.
That'd be good. Keep going, keep going. Pull more. No more. Okay, stop pulling. What?
What are you doing?
The radiator, they didn't radius the cutouts in this, so they're really pokey and they keep stabbing me in the thigh. So I'm fixing it.
Is that what they're calling it these days?
Yes. Don't be jealous. All right, babe, what kind of cool new toy did you get?
So this is the Hyperfuel 4,000 or 40,019 Hyperfuel in-tank sump pump, up to 800 horse. I don't think we're going to make it there. That's okay. So I have never put one of these in. And then update, since this is coming out before the gauges episode, the gauges that we got for this thing, we don't use the factory fuel sender. So I am going to try to mount this. I'm going to try to set this thing up to mount in the factory fuel sender hole. I'm hoping that's going to work. It appears like it will be. We may have to drill, we're going to have to drill some holes and stuff in it, but I think the hole diameter is about the right size right now. So we're going to put this in the factory pickup hole. I do want to angle it back so it's more towards the rear. There's a sump about 8 inches back, a deeper part of the tank from the factory sending unit. So I'm going to try to get our fuel pump, our screen, to be right down in the bottom of that sump. That's our goal. Normally, they would probably recommend that you take this tank out to do this. We're not going to, obviously. But one, don't use a hole saw on a tank with fuel in it. Two, don't try to catch the metal chips with a vacuum. That's like an extreme no-no. Because you'll be trying to vacuum up the metal chips and you'll be sucking in vapor and you will start a fire, like guaranteed, because a vacuum motor, the air goes right through the brushes of the motor. So you do not use a vacuum on this. Just retrieve the metal chips that you put in the tank with a magnet when you're done. If you have a plastic tank, good luck. That'll be fun. Luckily those turn into really big coils when you turn them, so it should be okay. So anyway, so that's what our goal is, to put it in the factory location and bend the pump around to where it's in the sump. So let's take out our factory sump pickup thing. All right, so I foiled up my grease ball here. That's something you guys probably won't have to deal with. Now I'm just going to knock this knockout ring. It hasn't been in there very long, so it should come right out. There's a new tank and a new pump and everything in this thing when we first got it. The smart guy would have taken the connector off first.
Good thing you're not a smart guy.
We're trying to drill right into that ring, so I'm going to see if I can't get that ring out of there by bending it. Ready?
Go.
Okay, so we're using a nibbler. We do, because we are messing with fuel, we want to make sure this thing stays lubricated. You don't want to make any sparks. And it looks like a beaver chewed it. We're going to do it a different way.
Okie doke.
Alright, so we're going to use body saw instead. Again, make sure it stays oiled. Okay, not my first choice. Luckily the metal all pulled up in the right in the middle down there, so it'll be easy to get out. We're not done drilling yet, so we're going to leave it for now. And we'll get all the metal out at the same time. Alright, so what I'm doing, we don't actually have to drill any more holes in the tank, so we're actually done cutting on the tank for this step. So I'm just putting the screws in. These are the screws that the pump is going to mount on. So I'm putting them in, and I'm actually putting a little bit of blue Loctite right up by the head. They're like a countersink hole, but you can't actually get to these once this ring is installed. So I don't want us to, be tightening it up and have the screw start backing out the other way. So I want the screw to be locked. So I'm just putting blue Loctite in and then just snugging them up hand tight. There's not much aluminum there. They're threading screws, so don't go crazy on tightening them up. So now that ring is ready. Okay, so now you just have to fish this in there. And the foam luckily holds all the screws very nicely. And we'll put it really doesn't matter where you put that, but for some reason I like it to have it at the top. And then this is where it gets really tricky because somehow you have to get your hand through here, grab the ring, and then get a screw started without dropping it. All right, so we're going to use this little magnet tool here.
I see it, yes.
To get the chips out. Pretty self-explanatory on how you do that. Luckily, they all kind of, for some reason, pull together in there. So I mostly got them all, but I'm just going to drag it around.
Wait, I want to zoom in. I don't know how to zoom in. Put that closer to the camera. There you go, perfect. Good helpers? Yeah.
All right, so now we need to measure for the depth of the tank, and then from center it's about 6 inches over. So we need to go 10 down, 10 and a half down, and then 6 inches over. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm figuring out the angle of the pump so that we can twist our rod that I just made so that it goes from the angle that the pump's going to be sitting at to back to flat. And so that's what I just found right there, which is 30 degrees, 29.9. So now we're just going to go put this in the vise and put a crescent wrench on it and give her a twist and get it back. We're going to twist it 29 degrees, 30 degrees. Crescent wrench.
Finally.
Okay, so we can use the same, we don't have to move it, we'll just use this bubble. So we have it in there now. It should read pretty level. It does. It's going to be close enough. And so now I'm just going to twist it until it's level using this giant crescent wrench.
Where did that giant crescent wrench even come from? Why on earth do you need a crescent wrench that big?
It's a crescent hammer. It's for doing exactly what I'm doing.
Oh.
That'll work. Too low, we might have to cut this off.
Okay.
So there is our offset, so it'll sit just like that. So it goes back to flat. Hopefully it's not too long from here to here, so to where it'd be hitting the bottom of the tank. We're going to have to measure that.
Does it look like it's going to fit?
Should. I'm going to actually stick it in there. Must not hit the ground.
Okay, so while you were gone, about 45 minutes went by. There were some broken parts and a lot of profanity, mostly from me because I leaned in Ford grease, ruined one of my favorite shirts. That's annoying. Also, I'm pretty sure Gavin hates this fuel pump thing, like a lot. So, yeah, there's that.
All right, so while you were gone, I was getting really frustrated with this thing because they don't really give you the parts to run it anyway. So this thing could regulate pressure, so you don't have to run a return line, or you can run a return line to it and eliminate the pressure regulator. And they don't really give you the cap to do it that way. They don't give you the barb to do it the other way. So no matter what, you have to buy more parts, which is really annoying. And while I was trying to figure that out, I was trying to put a barb in, and I leaned on the fuel hose, and the crappy plastic just snapped on the fuel pump. So I broke the fuel pump. So that made me real happy. So luckily I have an AEM one that fits, and it plugs in. But unfortunately, it only has this tiny, puny little sock, so that's the sock we're gonna have to run because, of course, the other sock doesn't fit it. So, I think I have it set up.
Wait, hold.
I'm holding.
What about the sock from the stock pump? Did you try that one?
I did not try that one.
You should try that one.
No, it also will not work on its own.
Dang it.
It's like in between.
Well, so much for that brilliant idea.
Yeah, see, it's in between. And then this one's extra small, but I can't take it off because I moved it on. So. Okay, so I got my O-ring on. I have this all adjusted. I really hope that I got my depth right. But after all that changing around, I'm starting to question everything. So we'll see. I'm hoping, if anything, we're going to be too deep. The wires are all hooked up. Okay. I gotta rotate a hose clamp. And it's still in the way. Those are the hose clamps they give you with it, and apparently you can only put it on.
Finish your thought.
One Direction.
It's a great band.
It's my favorite.
So the greasy rails on this thing are a disaster. That's what I managed to lean on and ruin my shirt. But look at Rue. Turn around, Rue. Yeah, that's right. Jumped up here to try to see his mom. Now covered in Ford grease. Noodle. That's it. No more shop help. Look at that. Success.
So I don't know why they give you lock washers on a nut with an encapsulated lock washer on it. So far not a fan. We're going to be installing a Holly one on the Safari wagon, so we'll see how that one does. But not a huge fan of this. There's just too many, the directions kind of suck on it. And then there's just way too many what ifs on it. And then obviously they've never installed one with one of those hose clamps on the hose, so I don't see. Maybe if you were super finicky and like sat there and played with it for an hour, you could do it, but I just put a different style clamp on it.
And there's my bow. Okay, it's a break from the shop, and I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not mad. We don't have the right fuel fittings. Gavin has a bunch of everything all the time, like everything except for this thing that we need.
Yeah, we don't have any of the right fuel fittings. I have a bunch of Dash 8 and the Dash 4, but we don't have any Dash 6. So we're going to have to get some Dash 6, and then my hose, the hose that I have is way too big. So we're going to get some smaller hose.
This hose is too big.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just got back. We got some fittings and an inline fuel filter, these guys, and 2 rolls of like high pressure fuel hose. And it was like $400 freaking dollars.
All right, so we're gonna put these on. These are just push lock fittings, and we just got normal rubber high pressure fuel line for fuel injection. We don't need anything fancy on this thing. So when you put on an AN fitting like this, you could use aluminum wrenches, which will save your anodizing if you're concerned about it. On this thing, we're not super concerned about it. And then you should always oil the fitting beforehand so that the threads don't go. Oops, you don't need that much oil. Anyway, and then just go ahead and spin them on. They should not have any resistance at all. For the high pressure line, which is this one, we need to put a fuel filter on somewhere. I am probably just going to put it right here, since it's easy to get to for me when I just slide the bed back. So I think we're just going to put it right there. All right, so, oh man, those are tight. I should have oiled them. All right, so I'm going to use these professional grade clamps here, otherwise known as PEX clamps. They're just half-inch PEX clamps.
You mean like for indoor plumbing?
Yeah, they work so good on fuel injection lines.
Yep.
The only problem is you can't get them off, but they are really, really good clamps. Unfortunately, the only size that actually works are the half-inch PEX lines on 3/8 rubber fuel line. It's the only one that actually works, but it does work really well. Those won't come off or leak.
There you have it.
So,
hold on, let me make sure you got the right one.
This is the right one, I think. I had it right.
This is the red cap.
Yep, that's the pressure side.
Pressure.
And then I'll show you how you know that. So you can hook the pressure line to any of these three ports. But the return line, if you're doing return system, has to be to this one. And how you know that is just this pressure regulator right here. Can you show them that again?
Yeah, but I'm gonna get your butt in the camera first. Butt.
Oh man.
Sorry about your butt. Okay.
So this right here is the fuel pressure regulator, and that's how it knows. This is how it regulates pressure. So this will have pressure, and then it reliefs it back on that return line to go to the back. So this is always the return line, but any three of these you can put fuel the supply to. You can just move the fitting. It just happens to work good doing it this way, and that's the way it came. So there's our fuel system. Our fuel system is done. It should pressurize just fine. We'll check it once we turn the thing on for the first time. Oh. And now I have a broken ankle. All right, that's that. Okay, to finish this up, click on the bottom right down there, and that's part 2, and we'll get this thing all finished up.